Okay. All right. Thank you for being here. I thank my colleagues and leadership for being here as well. So we had a really good, vigorous discussion at our lunch. We're still working, and we are closer to reaching a final agreement on President Biden's Build Back Better plan. As you all know, I traveled to Delaware on Sunday to meet with the President and with Senator Manchin about our agenda. We had a very good, productive conversation there, and we continue to move forward and continue to have good conversations through the weekend and up to right now. I believe that we will get this done, and we will get it done soon. I know that Democrats in both chambers are working really hard to get this consequential, desperately needed legislation across the finish line. No one ever told us, no one ever said that passing transformational legislation like this would be easy, but we are on track to get it done because it's so important, and it's what the American people need and what they want. And I want to focus on the impact on Americans, working-class Americans, middle-class Americans, poor Americans, those struggling to get into the middle class and those trying to stay there. The challenges our country faces now are significant. The world has changed so rapidly, and we have to deal with those changes and make people's lives better and easier. That is our mission. Things are a struggle today for 75–80% of Americans. Only those at the top have the wherewithal to deal with all the new changes on their own. So, this is not just some legislative fight happening in Congress. The bill we're working on is very desperately needed by hardworking Americans and will help Americans for generations to come. Millions of American families with infant or pre-K age children need help with child care and home health care. These are not luxury items for them. They're essential for their ability to work and provide for their families. Millions of Americans suffer from the effects of climate change. Millions more will each year if we don't address that real threat. The programs being discussed will help restore that fundamental promise that if you work hard and you play by the rules, you can have a better life for your family. And we need to strengthen vital services like Medicare, relied on by millions for the long term, and to make health care more affordable to seniors. I believe strengthening Medicare is very, very important, and we're working to get that done as well. So tackling these issues head-on is a large challenge, but it's sure worth the effort. Doing the hard work to deliver on something big that will improve the lives of Americans in a very significant way is worth every ounce of effort. It's worth the sleepless nights. It's worth the long weekends. This is our job, and this is a moment. It may be a moment that doesn't come back again. So that's why we're pushing so hard, and that's why there is universal consensus in our caucus that we have to come to agreement, despite the differences in views on many issues. I believe a final deal is within reach. Democrats will keep working until we're able to reach an agreement and pass this transformational legislation. And one separate matter, I want to recognize Chairman Durbin and the Senate Judiciary Committee for all the progress they have made advancing their nominees. Even as Senate Democrats proceed on our legislative priorities, we're working in a bipartisan way to speedily fill the vacancies in our federal judiciary with qualified, diverse, mainstream jurists. We've put in more new people into judgeships than any new administration first year has in a very long time. I hope both sides can continue to work in good faith to move this process along quickly and in a bipartisan way. Senator Durbin.
I want to thank Senator Schumer for those kind words, but I don't deserve all the credit. We have 11 members of the Senate Judiciary Committee on the Democratic side who have worked to achieve this goal. But there's an important element that I hope you will remember. In the last 9 months, Senate Democrats have confirmed 20 Article III judges, 13 district court judges, and 7 appeals court judges. 18 of those 20 judges have been confirmed on a bipartisan basis. They are quality individuals nominated by the President on the recommendation of members of the United States Senate, and the vast majority of them, like those pending on the floor today, have been rated unanimously well qualified by the American Bar Association. When you bring quality nominees before the United States Senate, good things happen.
Hey, folks. Please quiet.
And they've happened repeatedly when it comes to filling these judicial vacancies. I'll make one brief comment about the important reconciliation bill that's pending. It's been my pleasure every day to be on the floor when Senator McConnell presents his view of this debate. I'm struck by several things. First, he seems to know in exquisite detail the revenue package that is behind this reconciliation bill. That's news to me. Most of these elements are still being discussed even in our caucus and have not been agreed upon. He comes to the floor and makes these pronouncements about what will be included. I would just say that he frankly could not possibly have the information based on these statements. And the second point I want to make is we are doing this in a fiscally responsible way. What we are proposing in changes and expenditures are paid for. Paid for. That's the point that Senator McConnell does not want to acknowledge, and he should. 4 years ago, we went through a tax cut which added dramatically to our nation's debt and gave tax breaks to the richest people in America. That was the highest priority of the Trump administration and the Senate Republicans. Our priority is different. We want the biggest tax cut for middle income and working families in history. We want to help them get back on their feet and be able to go back to work with confidence that their kids are safe either at home or in the right kind of facility. So our priorities are different, and we pay for what we want to do.
Thank you. You know, one of the things that we have seen over and over again since the beginning of the pandemic is that it made challenges that workers and our families were already facing even worse. Parents and caregivers found it harder to take care of their loved ones and do their jobs. Quality, affordable health care became even more crucial, and for many, prescription drugs became even harder to afford as the economy struggled. We saw how essential workers, many undocumented, kept our country running at great risk, and the need for a fair pathway to citizenship for all immigrants became clearer than ever. And while dealing with the stress of a global pandemic, states like mine and many others have lived through historic, deadly heat waves, fires, and natural disasters, underscoring the urgency of our need to dramatically cut carbon emissions, all while those at the very top and the very biggest corporations did just fine. People have had enough of this, which is why they elected a Democratic White House, a Senate, and the House to act. Meeting these challenges are what the Build Back Better plan is about. We all realize at the end of the day, this bill can't do everything. It won't be perfection, but it will be a lot of progress, and it will do a lot of good for our workers, our families, and our country's future. As others have said today, it is time to get this done, and so we are going to keep working around the clock to deliver.
Senator Stabenow.
You know, we spent 4 years in the Trump administration with every day being about multiple crises and division and priorities with the Republicans, that it was all about the wealthy and the well-connected. And then President Joe Biden was elected. Democrats took majorities, and we turned the page to say that everybody in America is important and everybody ought to have a fair shot to be successful, to work hard, and have the opportunities of our country. And when we started the year, it was all about testing and vaccinations and saving lives, and hundreds of thousands of lives have been saved as a result of the work that's gone on. And then we did the American Rescue Plan, which was all about helping people get through the pandemic, helping get those vaccines out, and making sure that children and families and seniors and small businesses and family farmers could actually survive. And there's a whole lot of other work that's been done in between. And so now we're at the point of talking about the future. Where do we go for a better future, to build a better future for our children? And it doesn't matter if it's the climate crisis, which is going to land right in the laps of every one of our children and grandchildren, and the sense of urgency we have for them to fix this, or whether it's giving them a great start in life and the opportunity to have quality childcare and preschool and child nutrition and the efforts that allow them to get started at the beginning of life. Build Back Better is about our kids. We're doing it for our children. And I'm very confident that we're going to have something very meaningful to give them.
Thank you. I'm going to have to be relatively quick because I have a call waiting from the White House about negotiations. Go ahead. I can't hear you. Look, I'm not going to get into the individual specifics. We're talking about that issue and many others, and we're moving towards finding sweet spots in every one of the disputed issues. Yes?
Another question then. Several of you mentioned climate. The president's obviously going to the summit in a couple of days. Can you say with any certainty what climate provisions will be in this bill?
There's going to be a very strong, robust climate package, and our goal is to meet the president's goal. There are different ways to get there, of 50% of electricity, of 80% of electricity being clean, and 50% reduction of carbon into the atmosphere. Well,
will language expanding Medicare benefits and lowering prescription drug prices be in the final package?
look, we're working on both those issues now. As I said, we're making progress. We're not there yet on either of them, but it's important to do. I'm going to have to go.
How comfortable is the billionaire's tax to be able to pay for everything?